Oh, we have our participants started to arrive. Great. Welcome to the workshop Anatomy of a Provisioning Automation. Let's wait a little bit. We will start in 2 minutes. The question from John, why we scheduled two talks from developers at the same time, because this is specific workshop for provisioning automation, and DevHub is not only about this stuff, but as well as you remember, it's about product management, API roadmap, and other stuff. So, and it's a kind of community thing, and this is more like guided workshop. So, and it is why we have this development hub together. Development hub and this workshop together. Hi, Maxim and Dave, please switch on your videos and we will start in a minute. Okay, I see.
Morning, Stas.
Morning. Okay, it's really afternoon to me here.
Yeah,
But in any case, I have my light, and I just finally turn it properly, and it's not a red face, not yellow face, but normal color of my face. Great. So it's time to start. We just at the first. My name is Stas. I'm a technology evangelist for cyber platform. And if you start to use our API, you normally should know me because I'm answering, I have been answering at forums, by emails, and any other place where you can try to ask questions regarding API. So as well, I created some courses regarding our API and can plan to extend these courses, and this workshop in reality is a customized part of our online course. But why is workshop not just online course? Because it's workshop about provisioning. It's a common task for cyber cloud. And it is workshop because I'm proud to introduce my co-hosts. It's Maxim Saladuha from our certified system integrator, one of the first certified system integrator. So they normally have some experience with our API, and Dave Morrison from Rocky Mountain Tech Team, and he, together with Tech Team, created one of the coolest integration with our API I ever see. And it is why I have these people to discuss, not only give you some API information, but just to discuss how to work with this. And of course, I want to start with Dave. Dave, I know you just create this really cool integration. So, maybe you have some, the answer for all developers' questions when they start to develop with API on Acronis or something else. May you just, we start from the one thing you want to, one advice you want to give to anybody who start to develop with REST API or with Acronis REST API?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think the one thing that got us launched fastest with Acronis is the documentation you guys have. So we do everything via curl, just to the REST API, really straightforward, and going through the documentation, it just guided us through. And Stas, you made yourself available when we were dealing with access policies and offering items. So right now, what we've really offered the techs is they can just go into a customer record, they click a button, and it provisions the tenant the user, sets the offering items the way we'd like to see them, and sets the access policies. It generates super strong passwords, submits those and stores them in the database. So those are all in the back end. And then after that tenant is provisioned, since we initiate that provisioning and Acronis sends us back that tenant ID, we use that ID moving forward to grab usage. We use the usage for our subscription billing. And then the other API we hit very heavily is the alerts API. And that kind of notifies the team of any problems with the backups that have triggered. We also bring in the alert types from Acronis. So the person dispatching all of that can set the right level in terms of what's critical or what's important for us to be monitoring. And the really great part about that alerts API is that the exact same thing happens on the device. It sends that same alert ID in, so we're able to present the next tech with all the actions that have historically been taken to resolve that, to make sure that everything's 100% resolved and backing up as intended.
Yeah, and you know, as you can see, it is why it's a full stack integration. Let me tell, from the provisioning, which you just mostly focus on this workshop, to the issue integration, usage integration, billing integration, and in the intro, in a few minutes, I will show you all this documentation and materials they've mentioned, so you can start it. And then we just, during our workshop, we will discuss best practice from David, because, you know, I'm a little bit blinded by my, you know, more than 10 times delivery of the same thing. I try to learn from you. So thank you again to attend this workshop. And if you want to discuss and ask something, just put your question in chat. Or if you would like to discuss let's say, online, we can bring you to us. Okay, so let me start. So what we focus about? Remember that the first part of provisioning is to create full hierarchy. Yeah. So we normally focus for this stuff because we have only 1 hour and a half, and we have a lot of demos, a lot of discussions. But we as well have materials for our partners, freely available, trainings, and so on, so on, so on. And this first section is getting started with Acronis Cyber Platform API. I will share with you all these materials. And then we just, together with Maxim, drill into the authorization basics. Because without authorization, you can't call any API. Normally, you should be protected. And then, remember how Dave told us that create tenants, assign needed applications, and manage users. And after that, we, I believe, reach our end of half an hour. But you can continue to drill down with all these topics and additional topics using our documents. So let's get started with our Cyber Platform API. So at first, we just have our RAML-based API available by fixed link or just from Management Console. I will show you minutes during the demo. And you can use this API to create your own proxy libraries. In reality, we have quite complicated API, and I would say that I prefer to overlap myself manually. But for big projects, if you decided that you use more than at least half, more than 50% of API, you can use just RAM to generate any proxy. Normally, there are only one currently provider which can generate, let's say, workable proxy for RAML. It's Apimatic, and generation proxy from RAML is free. You just need to be registered, just for you to know. And this is example of our console. So you just can go to this port, to this link, which I mentioned below, like API to Docs and Data Central, and you have this user interface which you can use, and even not just only go through the API, but make some calls. The next thing, you just make some calls, and you can go through all this API. And of course, we create some kind of site with advanced API reference, which is quite similar to RAML. So it is not the biggest part for them. And the really cool part of this site is guides. It's a guides how to deal with specific business tasks and technical tasks. I will show you in a minute. And of course, it's my favorite. It's because I created it. I created the Postman collection for almost all calls, and which I ever have requested from any partner or customer. So let me share with you my screen and quickly give overview of resources I mentioned. So it's just some. I will share entire screen. So for a moment, you will see this a little bit. Oops. Okay, so you should see my screen. This is developer portal for which I mentioned documentation and other stuff, but I started with RAML. So let's start with RAML. So it would be, I just use dev cloud API doc. And this RAML is huge, so and a lot of includes, so it just needs some time to render it, and I just switch to the documentation at the portal. So here you can find practically the same documentation as with RAML. It's here in reference site, and you can see it. And I just show it to you, so you can check that is practically the same as an API console. And our documentation team continuously updates this stuff with a little bit maybe useful for you format, but in reality, if you can see, you just can see that this is practically the same. So in this case, it was application, and it was post, as I remember. So, you know, it's near the same. And what is really cool, it's guides. So if I switch to guides, here I can search. For example, I want some, you know, manage quotas. Oh, let me. So I can just go and find it here and go and look into and just examples on Python. Or I just can go through it, like, you know, where is API, what I need to do to start with Python, how to manage tenants, create, fetch information, all this stuff, you know, which you need to know. And it's just a very simple thing to deal with. I normally use it I normally use links to these guides to give some basic ideas how to deal with our API. As well, my beloved, Postman collection. Normally, we have examples on GitHub as well, but to publish these examples, we need to pass some process, code reviews, and so on. And as Postman, we treat Postman as a documentation. I just put these examples on Postman immediately after we released anything new. And for example, if we go to the most popular Acronis account management API, you can see that here, for example, if you just look into and just switch editions, it just introduced less than 3 weeks ago. Okay, and or maybe a little bit earlier, but you can see the latest stuff here. So it's advanced. Oh, sorry. Sorry for bubbling. So this advanced API, I immediately put it here. And if you just check, you can see that there's more than 100 calls, including something which can be helpful to create automation. And finally, before we go through this stuff, I just want to go to the developers and just show you something additional, like samples, just GitHub, blog, forums where I answer, and which is important, I just want to show you. This is real technical support. We have dedicated technical support person, and you can post this request to this person, and normally you will receive answer. Of course, just mentioned by me a few minutes ago, just GitHub with real part of our WHMCS integration on PHP, Python examples, PowerShell farms, and Bash examples. We will not drill down here because it's, kind of workshop. We want to give you all the ideas, information, links, and other stuff which you need to start to work with to provision API. And it's just the basis of what we have to help you. Okay, so switch back to just wait a little. Switch back to our presentation. So now you know where to find all this stuff. And I have, as always, have questions. Yes, you absolutely will have ability to see this recording, and of course, at the top of the chat, you can find links to the PDF of this presentation. So you can go all the links right now, and the link to the Postman collection so you can play as well. Just during our workshop, you can start to play right now to ask our questions. Okay, so and now I want to give Maxim presentation control so he can tell us about authorization basics with our API. And then we will discuss with Dave how they and Rocky Technic Mountain implemented authorization stuff, how they deal with this thing. Maxim?
Thank you. And I want to mention that you can use this time to ask the questions, and Stas will answer them in real time as I go through this bit of presentation. So the basics of the authentication, there are actually, well, first of all, it's very important to know that authorization or authentication is a very important bit. You cannot really send any API request without it. There are two methods that you're going to use through the application. The first one is the basic authentication. This is quite a simple method. For this particular reason, it's only used in one place in the application to obtain the token that is used for token authentication. So this is the second method. To drill down a little bit into the basic authentication, so to log in using basic authentication, you got to specify the header in the request like that, authentication, then the method type, which is basic, and then credentials, where credentials is the pair of the login ID and password divided by column and encoded through base 64. So actually, to send a request with basic authentication, first step is to encode your login ID and password pair using base 64. So for example, Joe Doyle password 123 will be encoded like something you can see on the screen currently. And then you gotta use this encoded string to do the authorization operation. So you'll do authorization basic and then this encoded string. If you are using Postman, PowerShell, or curl, you will be able to go through the entire procedure automatically. Otherwise, you will have to specify the header field in the request. Now to the token authentication. This is the method that you're going to use most of the time through the application. This is used everywhere. Again, as I mentioned already, aside from receiving the token itself. So to log in using the token authentication, it's quite similar. So you're going to do the authentication and bearer token, where token is a token that you received previously from IDP token endpoint. To send a request like that, you're going to use this token like that, authorization, and then you specify the method, which is bearer, and then you're going to use the token that you received from IDP token endpoint. Again, if you're using the Postman, you're pretty much set. Otherwise, you gotta specify the field in the request. Here I'll talk a little bit about the basic authentication flow. So again, probably it's already clear for everybody, but first of all, you're gonna use the management console UI to generate the client ID and client secret, which you're gonna use for basic authentication to receive the token. from IDP token endpoint through the post operation. And then you're going to use this token pretty much everywhere as long as it's alive, and we'll talk a little bit about that later. And here it's a little bit more in details. So step number one, it's not actually the step number one, it's more drilling down into the flow itself. So first of all, we're going to send the post request to IDP token. It's going to be basic authentication using client ID and client secret that we just mentioned was received from management console UI. The body type is going to be x-www-form-url encoded. And the parameter is going to be grant_type equals client_credentials. If you are successful, the response will include the token to be used further. Again, for Postman, quite simple, straightforward, authorization, bearer token, and you will be good. For other tools, you get to specify the header field in the request. It's very important to know that the token issued like that is only alive for 2 hours. You can check the expiration by using expire zone JSON field on ADP token endpoint. The response will be in milliseconds in UTC. Whenever you start receiving, say you're running some scripts and at some point you'll start receiving error 401, that's a clear sign that token has expired. It's recommended, strongly recommended to verify how long your operation is going to take before committing into the operation, and if token refreshment reissue is required, it's very recommended to use this opportunity to reissue the token. I think that's it. Thank you. Passing the stage back to Stas.
Thank you, Maxim. So, Dave, how you implement token recycling on your side? How you implement authentication and authorization for your integration? Could you please share some insight?
Yeah, we do it exactly the way Maxim just described. I was just looking at the beginning of all my calls. I go ahead and set an expiration time. And so every single call just checks against that expiration time for the token. And if it feels, I see I've got like for something that takes longer, if I'm within 5 minutes of the expiration, I just have that process go ahead and grab a new token.
Okay, great. In reality, it's kind of Java Web Tokens. It's a common way to authorize. It's in reality it's a OAuth to zero way to authorize, and it's really common practice to check how Dave told just a minute ago to check before calls. Normally, for example, for let's say in my scripts, if you look into, you can find that I set 15 minutes. It's just, Kubernetes time. Normally Kubernetes for their certificates and authorization tokens uses 15 minutes. And I just, before each sequence of calls, not before each call, but for each sequence of call, I just use this 15 minutes because normally I expect that my sequence will not be more than 15 minutes. It is nearly the same way as Dave described. Okay, so now we know how to authorize. Let's move to the tenants management. I believe as you, a participant of Acronis Cyber Summit, you already know how that Acronis Cyber Cloud is a multi-tenant system. And each tenant can be, and tenant is represent an entity. So it can be a partner, folder, customer, and inside customer you can use unit for group users, and for each of these tenant, like partner, folder, customer, unit, you can create users. And Dave, what structure, what hierarchy you use in your integration? Some simple one, or you just make some sophisticated folder structure to simplify management?
We go a lot simpler. So what we do is we also auto create the backup user. And we use an alias of a support email address on our end. So we manage our clients' alerts for them, and then our system will send out client-facing emails.
Cool.
So Yeah, so each tenant gets an auto-generated backup user email that will forward to somebody monitoring that email address, as well as the alerts coming in.
Great. So just want to mention that only now only users for customers can be consumers of backup users. So in this case, they've mentioned users. These are users for customer. Just for case folders, it's a kind of partners, but without partners, meaning just to group. For example, if you have one partner and a lot of customer and want to group your customer by something, for example, to have specific admins for group of customers, you can create folders, group customers inside, and create folder admin for that. Okay. So, and the main question for provision and for integration, and they've mentioned this magic tenant ID, what it is. I will show you together with demo of authentication, because authentication is part of any course. I don't want to focus on this specifically. So you need to know tenant ID, because to create something, you need to find this root ID for you. And in this case, we just return back to the idea of client, API client. Normally, you create API client for root of your integration. And in this case, and to create API client, if you create it in management console, you create for partner, let's say, or for root you selected. I will show you in a minute. And in this case, you just can call API client, call API to request API client information, and use this tenant ID as a root ID for which you create all your hierarchy. Then you need to create tenant. You can create tenant for types, remember? Partner, folder, customer, unit. In this case, let's say, and we have only 3 fields required. Name, parent ID, and kind. Parent ID, it's a magic tenant ID of a parent of my tenant. Kind, partner, folder, customer, unit. And name, it's a name of tenant, which must be unique in your hierarchy. Some mention partner tenant always creates in production mode, and customer tenant in trials mode. And what is really important, when you're familiar when you create tenants in UI, your tenants create in already with all the services. But when you use API, your tenants create without services aside. It is an example of JSON which return to you when you call to tenant creation. A lot of information. We will look into all this field during example. So just to give you idea, address, tenant ID, name, language, and other stuff, parent ID, ID which is tenant ID for tenant which we just created. So let's move to the simple demo. Let me share my screen as well. I just moved back to my Postman collection, and in my Postman collection I have just the collection which I use to create which sync back to the Postman site, and you can see this is a 146. But to start to use it, I need to create API client. And just to demo you how to do it, I switch back and go to Acronis portal. I have this demo portal created. Just I want to disable it, because remember, I want to have my partner unique. And just, if you have question, just ask. And for example, if I want to start from scratch, I just need to create my API client. Go to settings, and this is exactly DevCloud you can receive when you're by request from developer portal, Acronis Developer Portal. API clients. Let me delete this stuff. I just create and delete immediately because I already have this API client inside my Postman. So just check EE85. So just to show how to create, name, demo, and next, and you receive your client ID, which you need to treat as a password, and client secret, username, and client secret, password, and you data sent URL, which you need to use to call. As I don't need it, and I just deleted it. So back here, I have already put my security into my environment. I use this environment, Acronis Cyber Platform Development, and as well, all this stuff included into the Postman theme without, of course, my credentials. So I have created and put my client ID and client secret here, and now I want to create my token to create the tenant. So for authorization, I use remember, as Maxim told, client ID and client secret, basic authentication, body with grant time client credentials, and then I send. And then I receive access token, which is GWT token, and you can check it using GVT.io site. Here is Unix time in millisecond UTC. And just to simplify demo, I just immediately put access token to access token variable, just to not to spend my time. And then I need to know my root tenant ID. And as well as I recommended in our workshop, client ID, remember, EE85, authorization, access token I just received, I just sent, and you can see I receive my tenant ID, which is, in this case, root tenant ID for my integration. And now I want to create a partner. So I go to the partner, and I want to create it. Authorization, access token. So we will not check again, just to show you it. And body, JSON, remember? Postman demo partner, my tenant ID, it's my root ID, and type partner. When I send it, I just request JSON we saw before. Let's focus on very simple thing. Name. Update log is a little bit complicated question, but it is a way how you can see this logged, unlocked, and other stuff. Contact information, access possibility to disable access to you from admins of upper levels, branding stuff, kind partner, and here this ID, tenant ID of this partner, and pricing mode production as a partner. Just to simplicity, I put partner ID to my environment variable. So just quite simple, quite clear. 3 calls: issue token, request for root ID, create partner tenants. Then I speak about updating tenants. So normally you don't need to update tenants when you start to when you just initially provision, but you want to update, maybe you want to update tenants just after some, some task, just add something. So only field you need to use for that, it's required field, is current version, and all other fields are optional. You can specify additional fields and only fields you want to change. And just, let's say, some method which might be interesting for you is enabling, disabling tenants. Deleting tenants, not a common operation, but of course you can do it through API. And in this case, you can see like you can just use a version name and enable it false, and version ID and enable it false and change it. So remember, so let's switch to our portal and just refresh it. So you can see in a minute, I have my Postman demo partner enabled, but without any services provisioned. And if I go to the, let's say, partner and want to update partner tenant, I just go to the same path, update partner tenant, and I want to current tenant version. In reality, I know that I just created it. It means that version is 1, and I want to disable it, so send. As a result, I receive full full tenant information with updated fields. And if I refresh it, you can see that it's disabled. As I want to work with them further, I just...
We only see the presentation on the screen. So if you're showing some...
Thank you. I just forgot to move to the let's say this desktop share. Just a minute. Okay, in any case, okay, here we are. So JSON, I call the partner ID with false, put partner tenant ID, and finally I have my partner disabled. And then as I want to have my partner enabled for further use, I know that no one except me currently use this stuff, so I just check it for true, and version is 2, as just it returned to me 3, version 3. So I just put 3 here. I should to use real version just to check how it works. When I just use 2, it will be error. So I need to really have 3.1 send, and if we return back and refresh, we have it enabled. So quite simple thing. And I just stop desktop, put again, and we have a lot of other calls. But at the base workshop, I just want to give you idea that you have a lot of additional calls regarding users which you want to create and check status, legal documents, and other stuff. And you can use it, and then you can play with it. Almost all of these calls inside Postman collection, and you can use it as well. So the next is very important thing as you remember, all the partners, all the customers, when they create it, they just in trial mode. So Dave, how you deal with trial mode of your customers? Do you use it or just immediately switch to production?
I immediately assign offering items. So we immediately bring them into production.
Okay, I see. So let's look how it can be done. Okay, so trials. By default, when you create customer, they in trial mode. In trial mode, and in a full month, it will switch automatically to production. In trial modes, Acronis will not bill partner for this customer usage. And you can switch to the production immediately using API, but you can't switch back. So it's, one way road. Okay, so it can be done through the tenant mode changing. And it's just, kind of classical approach which we have in our Acronis Cyber Platform API. And thank you again that you tell me that I will not share screen with you. We just request pricing information and then put this version and with changed value. Let's look how it works. Apps, desktop share, full screen, share, Postman. At first, we need to create a customer. I will create my customer for freshly created partner. So in this case, you can just see that absolutely the same call and the same API, the same add point, the same methods as for the partner, but I just changed customer. And here it's partner tenant ID sent. I have all this information, and to check that I successfully created it, I just need to refresh. And here I have my customer with trial mode. So if I want, as Dave, change trial mode immediately, at first I just need to request my customer pricing model. So I send, and I receive this information. Which is important for me is version, and you can see that this is for customer very important thing. This is production start date for this customer, where this customer will automatically switch to production mode. But I really want, my customer is really mature and they want to immediately start to pay me. So I just go here, and as usual, I just only need what I want to change. So I remove this stuff, and all the additional information you can find regarding these fields in documentation. So I have the same thing, and then I just put it and change to production. Here we are. Send. And now you can see that is production, and here it's just today, and in UTC time when I changed it, this customer to production. And I can check it in my portal. And as you can see, I have my customer active. Great. So quite cool. Let me switch back to the presentation. Sorry for this mosaic. Okay, I'm here. Just few information regarding this production start date for a tenant. So as you can see, for customer tenants only in trial mode, you now can check when this tenant will switch automatically, because it's not in 30 days, but in 1 full month. And as well for production is especially day when we switch to production, and suspended when it's sent to suspended status. Okay, now it's almost, we just moved through all basics. So now we have all the tenant hierarchy we want to have, and we move to the quite complicated stuff. It's a kind of offering items, quota, and applications. Dave, what approach you use for offering items and application? Do you just have kind of templates, or you just use, kind of API calls to receive all the possible thing and then add some logic to filter out and then update? How do you deal with this?
Yeah, I think long term, I'll pull a live list of all the offering items. For now, what we did is, so we had the text set up exactly how they'd like the tenant and the user set up, and I took that JSON and I made a template that we push out.
I see. Okay, so now let's look how to deal with this. It's a little bit, let's say, maybe a confusing topic, but it's more very important. So remember, when we create this stuff, so we have all the stuff provisioned, but without any services assigned. So now we need to understand how to add these services. And just as a brief intro, we have at least 5 services: is cyber protection itself, file sync and share of cyber files, cyber infrastructure, physical data shipping, when you can send your disk to our data centers, and cyber notary. And you can assign different, and for cyber protection, you have number of editions. Remember, you can see it. So when we check, it's about 8 for now in my development account, in my development cloud environment. And I can assign as much as possible for partner and folder, but only 1 for customer. And so now we need to know how to deal with this stuff. So in reality, there are 2 approaches which I've discussed with David. So, and to understand, we need to understand, let's say, ideas of editions. So now we have at least 8 editions. Let's say it might not all of them are available for you, but it can be, you may have 8. And all of these editions represent by name of edition in the API. So, and it is how you can request specific services and specific stuff, specific protection thing for specific edition. And all this, let's say, newest one is a cyber protection edition, a cyber backup edition. And we just move forward, we just look into deeply into how to work with this thing. And as each unit of protection, let me say, represents by specific offering item. So we have offering items with editions, and all these editions have some specific usage name which built using prefixes. It's a little bit, overwhelmed, but when we move inside into the demo, I believe you will see how to deal with this stuff. Okay, so just to understand some basics, you need to, when I demo you how to deal with this stuff, you not to miss all these things. And finally, we have a lot of this edition, a lot of these offering items. How to deal with this thing, how to need to know what items, what editions, what usage name. We have some additional API call which give you, let's say, like reference books of offering items. So, and I will show you all this stuff. So let me start firstly from this simple example before I move forward to the more advanced thing. So remember, we speak about offering items, editions, and I have some call which give me idea. Okay, what editions I have. Okay, you can see all these editions and offering items named for editions, like offering reference book. So remember, name edition standard, name workstations, usage name workstation. And for example, just in the middle, something like cyber protection, disaster recovery, VMS, it's virtual machine, and name is PDRE VMS. So it's P, cyber PDRE is a prefix of this stuff. So you can just use this as a reference. Okay, let me switch back to my presentation. Okay, so now you can see what kind of editions we have, what kind of offering items we have. Let's move to the approach how to deal with stuff. So we have list of these offering items, and let me switch back to let me show you some additional demos just to give you idea how to deal with this. So I want to share you this demo thing, and here you can have this partner, and if I move to configure, I have these editions. You can see 8.1, and these services like additional one, and I have these protection units, like in this case workstation, server, virtual machines, and this is representation of offering item. So if you need to add something to your proposition, you just add specific offering item when you provisioning. Because when you just create offering items using API, as you can see, for our example, we have all the things disabled. So just to give you idea how to deal with this thing. Okay, so move back. So we have these applications offering items, and we have list of them, and we even introduced just let's say last month possibility to set some settings to prohibit to disable offering items if you use it, because when you disable offering items, and you can do it without any exclamation mark like it's normally in our management console, all the data will be deleted immediately. So you can protect it as you want. And quota give you possibility to limit usage or just notify your partners and customers regarding usage of this specific protection stuff. To end this example of offering items, remember that I have this edition. You can have this edition here. You can have this name, and you have the usage name. So all the clear stuff how to deal. And normally, remember when we discussed it with Dave, we have two options. And one option is to create, let's say, a list of offering items you really know you want to provision, and just deal with this. Or you can automatically create like universal provisioning system and create you and always ask regarding all available offering items, filter them out somehow, and then provision using received JSON. How it looks like? You just call specific endpoint when you ask what kind of offering items available for specific editions or for all editions, and then provision it. So at first you call it, then you just can filter them out and set to this specific tenant. And just to mention, for when you ask for available offering items, you need to ask from a parent tenant. And when you put offering items, you put it for the tenant you want to have enabled offering items. And what is really important is if you, all the applications which you want to have enabled will be enabled automatically. You don't need to enable it separately. Okay, let's look how it works. So remember that we create our offering items. And what is as well important when you create hierarchy like here with partner and customer together, not just customer, I need to, and this offering items enablement works in hierarchy. So if I have offering items enabled on customer level, I can, or on partner level, I can enable it on customer level. But if I have it disabled on partner level, I can't enable it on customer level. So let's go back to our demo at the Postman. So I want to share my desktop, share, go to Postman. So now I just move to the application offering items. And I want to deal with some universal theme. So I want just to get available offering items for a partner tenant. My tenant ID as a root of my tenant. My editions, in this case, it was just standard, cyber protect, and kind partner. Just to simplify, I just put here, I mean, I have it in my environment, but for demo, it's just simply to edit here. And edition, I just put it here, just to want to request for all edition. And I just check send, click send. So I have all this list. Remember, so you can see I have all this stuff. So let's just check. Remember, I have this per workload editions and all other editions. So more than 39 items. And as I just provision partner, so I want to provision all I have. So I just select all this stuff, go to the tenant, partner tenant ID, not my root item, go to body, and just replace all this JSON with JSON I just received, and replace root with offering items, and then send. As a result, I will receive provisioned offering items list. To update any offering items, I can do the same, but I only need to provide updated offering items. Let's check what we have now on portal side, on management console side. So if I go here, you can see that I have all this thing enabled for my partner, all the editions, all the offering items. You can see. I can edit, I can deal with them, but if I go to my customer, you can see that still nothing here. So I need to repeat the same for my customer. So I just go here and want to ask for available offering items for a customer tenant. Partner tenant ID, editions. Remember that for, for customer, I can specify only one edition. In my case, let me use per walk load. And this is customer. So let me ask. I send here. Then I as well can manipulate here, so I can remove something even if it's available. So if I don't want to provision it, then I just set the same way for customer tenant ID, all of what I have. And let me say, I know that I will receive an error. I should receive error. I really want to receive error just to discuss with you something important. So let me send it. Error. Why I received this error? Very important thing. A customer tenant can only have one storage for each type of, for each application. In my case, if I return to my demo and I go to my locations, I have two storages for disaster recovery. And when I try to, without filtering, apply this JSON to my customer, I receive this error because I need to select for customer what kind of storage I want to use. And I just know that you can see this. I have computer points. It's connected to disaster recovery. And I have just checked this infra ID and this infra ID. Infrastructure ID, it's, in this case, is storage. So let's select one of them. So I need to delete all the offering items which has this, thing, because I can't have customer with more than one storage for one time. And remember, I have no problem to provision it to the partner level. In my scripts, not this one, not what I have at the GitHub, but my other scripts, I have it. I work with this. So you need to add this logic if you want to build universal application. So let me just and final one. I have it stuffed, so I just remove it here, delete, and then send. Oops. How it just, sorry, it looks like I just forgot to delete last one. Yeah. Sorry. Again here. And now check again. Last one. No. It's, let me, F. It looks like I just occasionally forgot to delete last one. Let me check. It's just very simple thing. It should be infra ID. It's okay. Should work. It looks like I missed something. Let me just repeat this thing. Let's just copy back again and just give it to you. So let me just Control-C, Control-A, Control-V, and just delete this. Maybe offering items. Let me just check it again. Okay. infra ID. Should work, but in any case, we will find out. I need, sure. And game should work. Okay. Storage. Let's check storage. C storage, local storage, notary storage, PRDR storage. Okay. DR storage, PD storage. C storage should work, I believe. Yes, I just do something, just miss something, don't delete. So you can see that we provisioned it, and it is very important to filter out and to, if you decide to have universal integration, just to think about all possible scenarios. And it is why it may be useful to use a template approach when you just pre-configure. You can see here we'll have only one disaster recovery storage and one backup storage. And it is why it might be more simple to use pre-configure approach when you know what kind of offering items you definitely know to provision, including storages. And it is how Dave commented it, and use it. In this case, you just only once, when you're setting up your environment and you know your additions, you know your offering items, you just create, and your storages, you just create your JSON, save it in your settings, and just use it for directly without requesting all available offering items. So now we just move forward to the other things. So update offering items, you can update them. I mean, you can set quotas, you can deal with enabling, disabling offering items. So it is the same endpoint, and you only need to provide offering items to which you really want to update. So just to want to ask David, how you manage? Do you manage quota using API, or you just do it manually?
We give them unlimited quota right now. So we monitor usage, and if we see a giant jump or fall in usage, it sets an alert for the lead tech to check in on things and let us know if something's changed.
I see. So, if you have a possibility to update, you can set quotas. So let's view a quick demo regarding quota. So just go to, again, share with you all this stuff, and go to my Postman, and you can see just set quota. And in this case, I have the same offering items. Yep. And just I have my body, which is just specific application ID for my partner. And what is really important, that for my partner, I just can set only value for quota, because it is not possible to set hard quota for partner. So for example, and this value in bytes. So let me switch back to the offering items I set for my partner. It should be here. Yep, partner. And search for something which I don't need to workstation. Yeah. So I have my workstation, which is count, and I just want to check it, and workstation, it would be Overclock workstation PV, workstation PV, essential workstation. Just doesn't matter. I just need to go just one of the usage. So I go to the quota and I need to copy previous thing, just full of them. So now I just go here, copy all this stuff, and then the same call as I used to set up all the offering items, I just put here. You can see my workstation, and I just checked. I want to have backup only 2 workstation, and average doesn't matter for partner, and I can send. As a result, I just receive my updated workstation with version. Why I need version? Normally to update it next. And if I go to my portal and refresh my demo partner, I believe. So go here, you can see that I set it to for my essential workstation. And the same thing for my customer. I even can copy this stuff. I just copy here, not this, without, without version. So I can go to the customer and here you can, I just go to the set offering items. It's absolutely the same. So just put here and said that I want to have backed up 1 and 1 overage stuff. So, and send it. And as well, I receive absolutely the same answer, but for my customer. And if I go to the my portal and switch to my customer, here we are, and go here, you can see that I have quota. Customer, yeah? It did. Well, for some reason I have some freeze, sorry. Let me check it again. Here, I have my quota here, and I have, oh, it's other, I don't know why. Let me check again what I set up. 1 for my customer tenant ID. Yes, just to refresh it. Maybe some cached variables. Let's check. So I want to go to configure. I go to editions. Ah, yeah, some cached stuff. So, and now I have this 1 quota and 1 overage. It means then this customer tried to, when they add 1 workstation to protection, they will receive notification, and when add and 3rd workstation cannot be added to this protection because it will be more than quota assigned. So it is how you can manage thing for customers and partners. And for partners, you can use only quota. In this case, partner just receive notification and nothing more. Okay, now we know these things regarding updating offering items, which is the same as setting quotas. What is as well more important is you can enable disable offering items, and you can do it the same way. And for example, if I just go here and I don't need quota, so I just, let's say I just disable, but I need this thing, so I just need to put my quota here and put quota value to null. And I want to switch status to 0 for customer tenant, send. It just returned me the same information, so I don't want to bother you again. Oh, you don't see it. Okay. Let me switch back to demo. So desktop share desktop. I just call Postman, the same thing, but I change status to 0 for the same offering items. And if I go to my platform and close, refresh, Okay, and go to configure. You can see that I don't have here my workstation, but I still can enable it, sorry. But if I do the same for my partner tenant, here we are. I just go here and I just copy this thing. Quota. I just don't need quota here. Can remove it, I believe, and then set status to 0 and send. So I disable the same offering items for partner level. So now if I go back and I go to my partner, let me close this thing, partner, configure, and I have for my partner disabled workstation, but I still can enable it. So just something freezing. Okay, but if in this case I go to customer level, as well, I can't see workstation here, but if I start to edit, I even can't enable it. So it's a way how you can customize your approach if you would like to do it. As well, you can do the same on folders level. It is how you can, in addition, customize how you provision your customers. Okay, so let's move to our presentation and just a little bit work with it a little bit more. So we know all this stuff. The very important thing is switch additions flow. You know, Dave, do you use switch additions for your customers? Or it's not frequent scenario for provisioning when you need to switch from one addition to other?
Oh, right. We haven't had the opportunity to use that yet.
Okay. Okay, so let's quickly think about it. Remember, I have all these 8 editions and only one edition for customer. And it might be let's say, a business needs when I need to switch from some edition to more current edition or other edition. And now you have a very simple way to do it with 2 steps. Let's say you just ask to dry run to understand what kind of challenge you can have when you try to switch edition and just switch edition. In reality, as well as Dave mentioned, is not, let's say, common task, especially if you just start to integrate. But if you have legacy integration and, for example, you want to move to our new editions, it might be interesting. So let me not show you just separately, but just maybe together with other demo, let's say how it will work. As we already discussed quota, maybe quota. Maybe we need just to think about how to. Okay, we know how to. Okay, let's say, sorry for bumbling. We know all about things, so let's switch to let's move to the demo of switching editions. So desktop share. I have my Postman. Remember, I enabled for my customer per workload stuff. So I just copy it, move to switch edition dry run, and target edition would be, for example, per gigabyte, I believe. Okay. So, and as a result, you receive this error that cannot modify some of the offering items, switch offering items. You can't have these offering items for per gigabyte editions and other things. So you can do it. So new editions, they can't find matching. So it's, you know, just because per workload is, let's say, kind of complicated editions. They're just more advanced than any other. And let's just switch back to my platform. And if I just go to my customer and try to switch to the cyber backup, which in this case, they told me, sorry, you can't deal with this thing, so you need to remove it. Well, in this case, I can go here and just remove these things and save and try again. Like, for example, I can do it as well here. You can see send. Okay, so only warnings. So now I can really switch to per gigabyte because I just disabled all offering items, which really not available because I want to switch in reality to, let's say, to edition with less protection features. So I go to switch editions, and for my customer tenant ID, I want to switch to target edition in this case as well. Application ID is ID of customer protect application. Just not focus on this stuff because normally you can find this in more in simple API call. I will show you in a few minutes. So per gigabyte and send. So now if I switch back to my customer and refresh it, I can see that my customer have Cyber Backup Edition and no offering items because here no offering items here. Sorry, and offering items just enabled. Okay, cool. And okay, we already deal with photos. Okay, let's move back. In reality, we have, let's say, no more than 15 minutes. So let me switch back and okay. So offering items just quotas, just soft and hard. As hard quota is a quota value plus quota average, and remember that only one type can be set for partners and both for customers. And we already saw this demo. And as I promised, let's look into the application theme. In reality, in this workshop, it is only needed to this switch stuff. So, but in any case, sometimes you might want to switch application off. So you just can ask for application and received all the list. And this ID, which I used to switch my applications, is ID. Which my editions is ID for this application. So normally, let me check. Let me show you how it works. So desktop share again, and Postman. And you can go to the call and like get available application list. Last just simple applications and send. And as a result, you will receive all the list like cyber protection. And here you can find ID 6E6D. So if I go back here, I can check that my application ID, my application ID here it's 6E6D, yeah, for this customer ID, for this customer, when I upgraded it. So quite simple. As well, we have some additional API to switch back, to turn off and turn on applications without needing to set offering items. It's just rare case, but just you to know that is possible. I don't want to focus on this specific topic like switching application, but I want to move to the user stuff because we already create all the things, but still didn't create user yet. So Dave, you already told a lot about how you provision. So you just create only one default user with predefined role, or maybe you just do something else. So how you deal with this? Because you know that we introduced a lot of different dedicated roles for, let's say, like structure of management of customer. So what you use for this stuff?
That's it. As far as onboarding automation, we create one default user. That's generally going to be the one we'll use for their servers. And then we're connected to a password generator API. So we take that client's name, we turn it into an email address that'll forward into our support inbox, assign the password, and then set their access policies. So that gives somewhere to start. If we do end up in a situation where each user will get their own login throughout all that, then the tech will set that up inside of the web administration.
I see. Cool. So let's drill into this, how you can have this user. And please, if you have any questions, just put it here, because Dave and Maxim here, and they can answer these questions. So users, to consume, as Dave told, any services and to manage customer, partner, and other entities, you need to create users. And you can create user using API. Remember that we just didn't do it yet. Didn't have it done yet, and you just can create the user. What is important to know that to create user, you just need to specify very limited amount of information. It's just a tenant ID, login, and email. That's all. Why you need to email? Because all users create inactivated. Easy, use email, create and set up strong password. But you need to consider to use email activation, because if you use password, which is absolutely okay, you need to think about how you securely deliver this password to your users. And as well, we require to have your user's name login specifically unique for all data centers. So when you start to create user, you need to check. So you need to check using this API, like user checks login and provide user's name. Then you just can create this user using this very simple information. Of course, you cannot add any other fields. As you can see, a lot of fields inside user JSON. Normally, for primary contacts, we believe that you will add real username and real contacts, but it's absolutely up to you, because normally it is on your own how to deal with this stuff. As well, sometimes you need to update the user. So idea absolutely the same as for the tenant. So I will not focus on here on this stuff. So you just can enable, disable, and delete with these things. Okay, so we move to the activation user. So you can use, as I told you, sending email or setting password. As remember, Dave told that they just set strong password. Always is okay. And it's just one API call. To send activation email, you just send send activation email. And what is important, this call can be done only through the automation API, I mean using GWT token. And as well, it's only work for subtenant. You can use password, absolutely the same. You just user ID password and send you strong password. As well, consider to use send email if you don't want to think about how to securely deliver your password to your users. What is more important, when you create user, you have a user as well as tenant without any roles assigned. So they can't use any services. They can't manage anything. So you need to update the roles using access policies endpoint. And it means that you just need to know what kind of roles can be on user side. So we introduced with last update, I believe it's October update, a lot of read-only roles, because these roles were requested by our partners and customers. So we have these roles. For example, partner admin is all this stuff, account admin administrator on management portal, and read-only admins for protection, read-only admins for accounts, just read-only admin, which is obsolete. We would not, it still works, but we don't recommend to use it, and sync share admin for partner. For user, for customer, a little bit bigger because we have users as well. I shared this presentation with you as already, so you just can have it as a reference, and we will just look into the example immediately after this stuff. So remember, create user and then assign role. And as well, to approach as for offering items, you can assign predefined roles or just can use more advanced idea how to deal with this, just to call and just to check what roles assigned and how to deal with this stuff. As well, you can ask what roles available for specific tenant or for specific roles for this advanced automation. For most cases, as well as for Dave integration, is just template, not template, just predefined roles assigned. So let's go to the demo. And please, it's just a final demo. After that, we have, let's say, I believe 10 minutes maybe to discuss with you, and then we have end of the presentation. So please share your questions. So again, share with you my desktop and go to my Postman. So go to user management. So I want to create my user, and just to remind you, this is my Postman collection, which is available for you from Postman website. Check login availability. I just as well edited here. So let's say Summit 2020 Stas Workshop. So I just copy it and send. I guess there are no, yes, empty answer with 204. No, no user with this account. So I want to create a user for customer, in this case, just for simplicity. So in this case, I just want to replace login here. And I just replace login here. I use fake accounts, fake email, and use password just for simplicity, not to wait while I'm waiting for email. So just customer tenant ID, name, login, email, and as well I just add first and last name. Send. User created. You can see a lot of information. And if we back to our portal and get to my customer and go to the users, you can see that I have an active user which don't have any services and role assigned. Oh, so I need activated and assign roles in any sequence. I just want to start to activate it. So I have my user. As I have a fake email, I can only activate by my password. So I have my user ID. Oh, I need to copy my user ID. Sorry, I need to copy my user ID to my environment variable. So I just go here, my environment variable, user ID. I need to activate by setting password. So here's my user ID and my strong password. Send. I just oh, it's not this ID. This is this ID. It's just contact ID for this user. Sorry. Okay, and here user ID and setting password. Set. Activated. What is interesting, if you set empty password, user can't log in to the console, but can log in through the impersonate URL. I have my customer active, but user active, but still no services and roles assigned. So I move back. Remember that I have these roles, and I just remember all these predefined roles. I will use them. So I can check that I have no roles assigned for my user. user ID. So I want to set user roles. This is customer. So I have this, all the other users, remember? So I want to set them most bigger role. It's a customer admin, and it would be customer tenant ID. Remember, it's just customer tenant ID. So we should have all the stuff set for this user. Oops, bad request. So invalid value. I had something miss. Let me check. Customer admin. Let me check that it's that. Role. Yes. I just missed. It's not customer admin. It's other name. Let me just show you, just to you to understand. I just switch back to you that to show my error. So remember this. It's a company admin, not customer admin, of course. So it is why I have this error. I just switch back, and I have this company admin and send. I have provisioned it. And if I back to I just again I enable it for you. If I back to my console, and if I refresh it, I have my user with company administrator role assigned. Great. So now, through this workshop, together with my colleagues, we move through this provisioning stuff, and now you know how to provision end-to-end your customers and partners, create users, and assign services. So Dave, Maxim, maybe you want to share something in addition with our team, with our participant. Something before. So maybe you can add something.
Yeah, no, I think you did a really great job running through everything. I know I couldn't find it right now, but one of the things that helped me out a lot is your website admin can show the JSON representation of some of the objects. So that was a big help while I was rolling it out. People could point out something that they wanted set differently, and I could instantly take a look at what the end result should look like.
I see. Great. So thank you again for participating in this event. Just wait, in reality, we just really ended, and I want to thank you, Dave and Maxim, to help to provide this event. Dave, you really co-host, because as I told you created really cool integration. You have a lot of experience, and you really helped me to deliver these different abilities to use our API. Thank you a lot. Have a nice day. And Maxim,
thank you for making that happen. Thank you so much for including us. You have a great day with the rest of the event.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you as well. Bye. It's, authorization is a really important part, and your delivery is great. So thank you again for this stuff, and we're waiting to have other projects with you, and waiting to virtually meet you on our summit as well. And thank you again to all who participate here, and you will have all the recordings, and you can look into the presentation, which have more details than, so have all the stuff I told, so you can use it. Thank you again. Bye.